So I'm very excited to tell you about this experience. I'm sorry, not sorry that this happened. So a bit of a background. Most people know that I am a psychic medium and I specialize in exorcisms. Now, most of my clients are based either interstate or overseas. And so I don't actually get to see a lot of the physical stuff that they do experience and that they tell me about when they contact me. So this is something that happened. Yes, it was probably something I should have been a little bit more aware of, but I never know what I'm going to interact with. And although I'm always protected and my guides are always protecting me, and this is the work that I'm meant to do, I don't always know exactly what I'm going to be up against, and I don't know I know how things are going to go down, but you're interacting with something a little bit different every time, and the scenario is a little bit different every time. Even though 90% of the time it is still the same sequence and the same way I remove them and blah, blah, blah. So this is actually really exciting for me, although it wasn't so exciting and interesting for the person that it happened to. So it's not a very long story, but I'm not great at telling stories. So I will try to stay on track and tell this story as best as I can. So I had a client contact me and she was having a really rough time in her home. Things were happening, there were physical things. She was being touched at night, have her legs pulled, blankets off the bed, just a really uneasy feeling in the house, knowing that something was watching her. There were a lot of other things going on. And so she wanted to know what was in her home and whether it was attached to her or her home or something like that, what it was, and could it be removed. So I do this over a period of a few days, a couple of days, and this way each time I go in deeper, I can get more of an idea of the deeper layers of energy and what is happening there. A lot of the time people come to me and say, oh, I see a little girl, or I've seen this child spirit in my home, and it's okay, I just want to know that she or he is all right. And I look deeper and it's not a child, it's something, it's a higher entity, or even demonic, and they are showing themselves as a child because they don't want that person to be scared of them in the home. They don't want them to get help to remove them. So when I do my work, I go really deep to make sure that what is being seen is actually what is there, and so I can do that really well if I go in deeper over a couple of days. So the first day I remotely viewed into this lady's home, and I couldn't see much. I knew that there was something there, I could feel it, but it was hiding from me. So I looked around, made sure there wasn't anything else there, knew that there was this one thing that was hiding, and then pulled back my energy and got out of there. The second time I went in the next day and I went deeper. So I actually found it in the home. It wasn't attached to her, it wasn't around her energy, it wasn't even actually attached to anything in the home, any ornaments or anything like that, or the home itself. It had just moved itself in for some reason. It may have been attached to somebody and dropped off in the home when someone came to visit. There's lots of reasons anyway why it could have been in the home. And when I first saw it, it kept on flashing different faces. So it kept on flashing from one place to the next, to the next, to the next. And that's how I knew exactly what it was, because a certain type of entity, a higher entity, in my other videos I explain the ranks of these entities. They go from smaller slug-like entities that just attach themselves like leeches and draw on your energy and then fall off when they've had enough, up to higher entities which are more they have their own thought patterns, their own mind, that type of thing, up to a demonic entity, which is the highest. So anyway, if you want to know a little bit more about entities and about the difference between spirits and entities, an entity has never been human, so they're not a spirit, they're not a person that has died. So if you want to see anything more about, understand anything more about that, then go and view some of my other videos on that. So anyway, it was flashing face after face after face. So the reason why it does that is because it doesn't want me to see exactly what it is. So it's trying to confuse me. It's trying to get me to not see it, camouflage itself, hide behind it, just make it confusing. It doesn't, but you know, that's their fighting mechanism. So the next time I knew that I'd get down to exactly what it is, and you know, and what its actual face looked like, what its actual body looked like. And again, I explain this in other videos on how I sense what an energy looks like, and how it determines its shape, because they are just energy. But they do have energy features which make them into a certain type of shape, or a certain type of entity in the way it looks. So by this stage, I knew that it was one of the higher entities, and I knew what it was and how I was going to remove it. But I just needed to do that last check-in. So moving on to the incident, what happened was a friend of mine came down from Brisbane the next night and stayed the night, and that day my client had contacted me, and I wasn't actually going to work that day, I was going to work the next day after that. Contacted me and said that she wasn't going home. She couldn't go home. She was too scared. This thing, they do ramp up a little bit, and I do tell my clients that while I'm doing the work, they try to then scare the person into not allowing me to do the work. So she contacted me and said, look, I can't go home. I'm going to stay with a friend, but can you do this work as soon as possible and just get rid of it? I don't care, just get rid of it. So I'm like, okay, well, I wasn't going to do any work that day or that night, but she was in desperate need. So I thought, what the hell? So I will wait till my friend goes to sleep that night, and then it'll take me 10 minutes and I'll do the work and get rid of it and we'll move on. So I told him when he was down here that when he went to sleep, I work from bed. I sit up in bed, I do the work, and then I lie down and go to sleep for the night. And that's how I do my work each night. I normally have about 3 clients I'm working on in an evening. But this night I was just going to work on this one client because I wasn't really meant to be working. So he said, fine, no worries, whatever. I always do a quick protection on myself. I don't need to, but it's just part of my routine to get myself down to that alpha state, so I can remote view and connect in and see her home and see her energy and do the work. And I sat up in bed and just started the whole meditation thing. And when I went in, the little bugger wasn't there. And that shit me, because then I've got to go searching for him. I've got to go through the house, and I knew that that's going to take me 5 minutes longer. So I'm like, I'm going to catch up with this thing anyway. Why bother hiding from me? But they do. So so here I am looking around each room, looking around, and at the same time I could hear my friend breathing like he was in a sleep state. You know, you can hear that regulated kind of breathing. And so I'm still looking for this thing. searching around. And I found it in a corner of the room that the client later told me that she always looked in that corner of the room. She could always feel that there was something there watching her. So obviously it liked this corner of the room. Found it there, pushed it up against the wall with the white light, because if I use the white light, I can find them. So I don't just necessarily look around with my eyes. If I need to look, I need to actually search them out, I'll put the white light out and then they can't hide. So I'd had it pushed up into this corner, right into this corner. Now, I'm tired. I shouldn't be working tonight. I'm getting the shits because this thing's run away from me. And I'm like, as soon as I pushed it up into the corner and I could see it and I could feel it, knew exactly what it was. And I said, right, I've got you now. Now what are you going to do? Well, immediately, as soon as I finished saying those words, my friend started yelling really loud, just started like yelling in his sleep, like it was near to the point of screaming. It was so loud. And he's going, get off me, get off me, get off me, stop, please stop, get off me. And I'm like, oh shit, okay, I think I know what's happened. So straight away, I've come out of that, turned to him and was shaking him awake to see what the hell was going on, knowing what was going on. But I shook him awake, and it took him a while to come to, and then I had to calm him down a little bit because he was fully sweating and shaking. And I said, okay, what's going on? What just happened? Can you, like, he's like, I just had a nightmare. And I'm like, okay, well, tell me what you saw, knowing what was going to happen. And he said, I saw this thing with red eyes come at me and was right in front of my face, and all these faces started flashing like this. And I'm like, okay. I said, I'm so sorry. That was me. I did that to you. I said, you were lying next to me. I should have protected your energy. And I said, it's come for you because I threatened it. And I said, what are you going to do now? So this thing has then shown me what it was going to do and jumped straight into his thought patterns and his my friend's mind. So now, look, it couldn't have possessed him, and it wasn't actually there. What it was doing was connecting into his thought energy. Because he was in the dreamland state, he was in that, so probably in that, you know, the alpha or the lower state than that, the one that's just a bit lower where you sleep. And he's been able to jump in through that because he's had his mind opened. So he's not actually going to possess him, but he's trying to possess his mind at that stage. But they can't hold it there because they need to actually get into their energy field or get into their body. So look, he was fine, but I can't tell you how damn excited I was that this happened. I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry I did that. But Jesus Christ, this is so much fun. I'm like, it actually physically showed me what it could do. And so anyway, I was all out of it by then. I didn't want to hurt him anymore that night. I wanted him to have a good sleep. So I didn't go back in that night, remove it. But the next night I went in, or the next day I went in, removed it straight away. It's gone now, and she could move home and everything's fine. She hasn't had any experiences yet. And as soon as she went home, she could feel the lightness of the energy of the home, and feel that, you know, nothing was there, nothing was staring at her. When you've been in that situation, you can, you know, you really notice the difference yourself, like all my clients do. But I still feel sorry for him. It was the worst experience. Like, he was fully shaken up, and I had to actually like calm him down. He fell asleep a few minutes later, but he was in total shock. His eyes were wide open. He was like freaking out. And I'm like, yeah, I'm sorry about that. So next time, so I do protect everyone in my house that comes and stays or is here. I do that now. But he wasn't really in any danger. Like, he seriously wasn't. They can't get into my house. My house is protected. My house and myself are always protected by, I do my own protection, but my guides, because I'm meant to do this work. So, so my house has never, like, I've never had anything come into my room. I've never had anything, for anything that I've removed. And again, in other videos, I tell you where I remove them to and what happens to these entities and demonic entities when I remove them. And spirits, they go to a different place. So I can tell you, that they where they go, but I don't have anything ever come and try to hurt me, because they just, firstly, they don't bother because they know, and secondly, they can't. So, but that was quite exciting. Like, before I started all of this work, I was actually the biggest skeptic. And when I was growing up and things used to happen, I used to see things, I used to get, I used to have to get confirmation that either somebody else had seen it, or there was evidence from what I had seen, or from what a spirit had told me. And over the years, I always got that evidence, to a point where, yes, I love the evidence now. I love seeing this shit, like, seriously. But I don't have to have it. So it doesn't always happen. I just know that what I see is correct. And I will tell you another story another time about some evidential stuff about things that I went through and how they were evidenced. So anyway, this was, I mean, this is why people, I still love haunted places. It's freaky. I know it's freaky when you get touched on the shoulder, or when someone grabs you in somewhere that's haunted, or you get your hair pulled, or you feel that spider web feeling of someone, a spirit or an entity touching you. Like, I still find it really, really exciting, and I love a haunted house. So this was right up my alley. This is great. I do this work every day, and I don't necessarily, I have my clients come back to me and say, it's gone, like, I don't feel anything, I'm not being attacked at night, these things aren't happening, plates aren't flying, off the sink in the kitchen, but I don't necessarily actually see it myself. So this was really, really exciting for me. My poor friends, but anyway, he forgives me, so that's all good, and I promised it wouldn't happen again. But that's my story, and I have many more stories. So if you did enjoy this story, then please put something in the comments section, and I will start to do some more stories. I have some really freaky stories about evidential stuff, things that I've done, things that I've gone through to get where I am today. So if you are interested in those things, then please put a comment below. Also comment below if you have any questions on this video, because I can answer them, because I'm not sure if I actually went through this thoroughly enough, and sort of answered all your questions as to how or why this happened. But thank you. Also, if you want to be notified of my videos, then please click the like button, click the subscribe button, and that'll notify you for when my videos do come out. And I also have a few videos that I've already completed, so go and have a look at those. It tells you a little bit more about the work that I do, and also about entities and ghosts and spirits, and what they are and how I work with them. So I will see you next time. Thank you.